Two black radio hosts from Arizona who are taking action to stop the spread of the phrase white lives matter, which is often used by white supremacist groups and has been called a racist response to the Black Lives Matter movement. The Anti-Defamation League called it a hate slogan, and it most recently popped up on T-shirts designed by Kanye West.
So these radio hosts trademarked the phrase. Ramses Ja and Quentin Ward host the nationally syndicated weekly racial justice radio show Civic Cypher, and they join us now. Gentlemen, great to see you. So, Ramses, let me start with you. What do you plan to do with this trademark of White Lives Matter?
Well, at present, we plan to do nothing. Nothing is plenty, as you can imagine. We have lawyers advising us on how to best protect the trademark. So it will not be used to hurt, harm, trigger any people. And as long as we are the people in the position to decide how it is used in commerce, we will do our best to minimize the effect that it may have on people.
So Quentin,
just
explain that. So you by design don't plan to do anything with it, and that means that nobody else can. Is that the point?
At present, yes. We and just to make it clear, we didn't purchase or pursue the mark. It was actually assigned to us by one of our listeners.
So one of your listeners got the trademark and anonymously, as I understand it, gave it to you.
What I think is so fascinating
yes.
about this, gentleman, is, and I want to jump in here, what's so fascinating about this is, for a lot of people don't realize that, you have the right to trademark certain phrases in connection with a product in particular. And what was so ingenious, I think, about this original notion was that if you trademark something, then obviously it cannot be used by other people. You've got to obviously police that and make sure it's not being used. But it was the goal that I think is so fascinating that everyone needs to know about, because you were a little bit concerned about being able to, and others being able to exploit this particular phrase, being able to profit off of it. And that was really the driving force of why it was assigned, why it was given in the first place. But speak to us a little bit about why it's so important to you to have this not be able to be profited off of in the time we're in.
Yeah, I'll go first. So it's really about controlling who can profit from it. Again, we have to be very careful about the language here, because trademarks are a little tricky. But in terms of how it feels to be at the helm of this moment, I can say that it feels good to see people's reaction to it, to see people feel like they have a reason to smile. The past few weeks have been heavy for a lot of people, been triggering for a lot of people. And so that feels good. And again, we're going to do right by folks.
And when you think about it,
that,
go ahead, Riz.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Q, go ahead.
I was going to say, seeing that phrase on a T-shirt, like imagine, I'd like to paint a picture, sitting on your porch and someone walking up to your home with a Confederate flag over one shoulder, a Trump flag over the other shoulder, Make America Great Again hat on, a T-shirt that says White Lives Matter on the front, and that says slavery was a choice on the back. And imagine that person holding a bullhorn and saying through it, George Floyd was not killed by police, but he died from a drug overdose. Imagine how that would make you feel, and then explain to me why I should feel different because the person wearing all of that stuff is a creative genius.
I mean,
The picture you paint is really important, right, Allison? The idea of why, and as that point, I mean, so many people have been asked to compartmentalize based on what you've said. The idea of it's okay as long as it's somebody who is not white who's wearing it, or somebody is able to be applauded for a very different aspect of his life. That's most important to you, to be able to remove the opportunity to capitalize on that.
Exactly. Again, we feel like, in fact, it's well documented that the term White Lives Matter rose up in opposition to the affirmation that Black Lives Matter. It has never been in question whether or not white lives have mattered in this country. It's a given. We know that. Everyone knows that. We felt in our community that we needed to say Black Lives Matter, particularly after the death of Trayvon Martin. And so, again, these other matter terms and phrases have rose up in opposition to that, to weaken the message, to dilute the movement, and to just be contradictory in nature, to give other people talking points in a conversation when the phrase was originally intended to affirm our lives having value. And so, again, being at the helm of something like this, being able to be the decider, feels very important. It's among the heaviest things that we've had to do as radio hosts of a a social justice radio show that we do because we believe in the greater good of all people. We believe that we can come together across cultural lines, racial lines, tribal lines, and have conversations and really grow. That's at the heart of everything we're trying to do. And we believe that the maneuver that or rather the position that we've taken, will yield the most good for the most people. That's our hope, and we're going to do our best to do right by everyone.
And so, Quentin, very quickly, that picture that you painted of how sort of off-putting it was. What's your message to Kanye West, or Ye as he goes by, and Candace Owens, who are the ones who wore those T-shirts so publicly?
I'm actually glad you asked that question, because a lot of people who see the headline in the picture assume that we have some personal beef or problem with Kanye West or Ye, and we don't, right? We just don't like the hurt that comes from that message, whether it be intentional or not, and we're just trying to limit as much as we can the amount of people that have to relive trauma or be triggered or feel pain from a message that had such negative intentions.